Welcome to another episode here of Phoenix Rising Live. Episode number 36, 36 days in a row. And this is a wonderful testament to the topic of this evening, which is patience and persistence. And in this case, I would say persistence has been the main theme. However, the idea of patience is sometimes a sticking point for people, simply because it's the idea that, there's something that I want right now, but maybe it's not happening. It's not happening as soon as I think it should. And what should I do? Is there something I need to do to move it forward? And so really consider it, right? You have to be a master of intuition, a master of energy, a master of intention, and just gauging where are things at. Sometimes things are not moving forward because something needs to be prompted. And sometimes things don't need to be prompted. And it's simply requiring the allowing of it. And so if you think about the idea of aligning with your ideal reality, your preferred version of Earth, where people are responding to you, to your preference, and you are responding to them, to your preference, tuning into that, what does that actually mean? And when you think about that, is it still coming from an ego-based place? Because if it's what you want rather than what you need, occasionally those two things may line up. However, that's not really the point. The point is to focus on what do you actually need right now? What do you actually need? What's a necessity for your growth? And if you focus on what is a necessity for my growth in this moment, then the idea of patience begins to melt away because there's nothing that you're waiting for. You're simply experiencing the moment. Sometimes we want something to happen so we know where we stand with it. Well, why does it matter? If you think about the idea of external forces affecting you, affecting your mindset, affecting your state of being, then it would matter. But that would be conditional. That would mean that the circumstances influence your mindset and that your mindset's conditional based on what's happening, and that's not mastery. Now you're placing your power in the external environment, in the hands of others. And of course, you're using your power to give them power, so you're still always in charge. But is that really how you want to utilize your energy? Or would you prefer just to maintain the state of being that is your preference right now? So rather than focusing on the external world that you prefer, focus on the energetic field that you prefer, the state of being that you prefer. What is that? Utilizing everything for a positive purpose, of course. Paying attention, what are the signs and signals that you're being given right now? Are there things that you're allowing to distract you? And you have to be honest with yourself. Remember, in the silence between the sounds of my words, there's always communication happening. And not every person, not every mind is ready to receive that because they get bored. And they start thinking, they start twitching or itching or getting prompted to do something else. And that's okay. But what about your mind? Are you communicating with this silent space in your life? Because the idea of waiting for something to happen doesn't need to be a boring experience. Waiting automatically implies that something else should be happening other than what it is. Maybe that's not the case. So obviously, you have to use your discernment in terms of taking action. Is there something to do? Are you actually being prompted to do something, or are you doing it out of scarcity, meaning I just want something to happen rather than what do I actually need to have happen? Because often there's not really a lot you need to be doing. If you think about all the things that have transpired in your life, you obviously receive natural prompts to move forward with them. And what's the rush? What are you demonstrating to the world? What's your message to the world? If you bother someone enough that they'll acquiesce to your needs and wants and demands, or can you give them space? Can you give your life space to naturally evolve? Think about when you plant a seed in fertile soil, you obviously want it to give it the appropriate nutrients, sunlight, water, etc. Beyond that, it doesn't need anything. And it certainly doesn't need you to dig it up and take a look if it's growing or not, because that's not how it works. So similarly with your own creations and manifestations in this physical reality, sometimes a follow-up is necessary. And sometimes it's not. So utilize your own definition of persistence. What does it mean? And apply it on a case-by-case basis. Because every scenario is unique. Every moment has its own unique energetic frequency, and that requires a great level of discernment and attention. What's the win-win for everyone involved in the scenario? When you're following that inner enthusiasm, that intuition, that guidance mechanism within you, then you know what you need to know when you need to know it. So are you taking full advantage of that system that's inherently in you? It's not really something that needs to be developed per se. Perhaps you need to develop a stronger bond with it, a stronger relationship, so you understand its communication, what it's communicating to you. But it will be the most natural form of communication that you've ever encountered when you allow it to be that. Often, taking action is sort of like a pressure cooker buildup. There's something that you may be thinking about, and then at some point it builds up to the point where you take action. It just happens. So everything's going to happen that needs to happen. And what difference does a few days make? What difference does a few weeks make? Things aren't going to be delayed months and months. That's not how it works either, right? So just be cognizant of your past. Were you overzealous or over-prompting or overbearing, pushy at times with certain people or circumstances where you didn't need to be? And if you think about the greatest fits, the most synergistic relationships or circumstances, they more or less happen on their own, in their own timing anyway. So just allow it. And as you allow it, you naturally have patience. So you're not practicing patience, like I'm waiting, because there's still the mind that wants to do something else. So you're just kind of suppressing it at that point. That's not the point. And then the idea of being persistent as well. So, those can seem like polarities in some respects, because one implies sort of taking action, one implies not. But they're actually one and the same, because when you're following that inner voice, you're prompted what to do and when to do it. And that's sometimes just being silent and holding space. So take these ideas to heart. They're your life. You're creating your masterpiece. That's what this is. Life is your masterpiece. Do you value it? Are you respecting your life? Are you respecting each moment? And are you utilizing it for your growth? So, words of wisdom. Thank you for listening. Join me on Sunday for the Phoenix Rising Masterclass, where we will be implementing ideas like this and others, whatever's most relevant for you at this point in time in your life, in your spiritual evolution. I'm here to support you every step of the way for you to experience your own personal enlightenment, because we are here to be enlightened. We are here to live with all the lights on. And when it's sunny skies and clear waters and sandy beaches in our mind, then it really doesn't matter what's happening in our external reality. But of course, the way it works is often the reality begins to match and mirror that, the physical reality. But the internal reality is always calm, is always on task, is always relevant, is always centered, is always balanced, irrelevant to the external. So manage your state of being, allow yourself to be the best version of you, experience happiness and joy to the best of your ability in every moment. And I'll see you on Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, and I'll catch you on the next episode of Phoenix Rising Live as well. Bye for now.